Blog Talk Radio.
A verbal letter to the president. Listen to the relevance in ordinary words I say. A verbal letter to the president. It should be more than evident. Some shit just don't change. A verbal letter to the president. Listen to the relevance in ordinary words I say. A verbal letter to the president. It should be more than evident. Same shit, different days. Roll up, smoke out, you know what I'm talking about. Every day the same shit, living by the goat house. Tags out the folks out, how will it get better when you gotta sell that butter? Cause you really need that cheddar. Till they fight the war on drugs, like they fight the war on terror. Pledge allegiance to the flag, when my future was so good. Politics that shoot you out, but no one looks to the mirror. So if we're gonna make a change, then I promise we're on here. Verbal letters to the president, listen to the relevance in ordinary words I say. A verbal letter to the president, it should be more than evident. Some shit just don't change. A verbal letter to the president, listen to the relevance in ordinary words I say. A verbal letter to the president, it should be more than evident. Same shit, different days. What up, Obama? Congrats on Osama. But my niggas in the hood got the same problem. Baby homie, no job, and they can't find one. So we posted on the corner, get the handcuff. High label, that's the third making ends meet. I'm promoting non-violence, staying with my peace. The war started on drugs, now it's in the streets. Fuck a Congress, killing niggas like me. A verbal letter to the president, listen to the relevance in ordinary words I say. A verbal letter to the president, it should be more than evident. Some shit just don't change. A verbal letter to the president, listen to the relevance in ordinary words I say. A verbal letter to the president, it should be more than evident. Same shit, different days.
Hotel family, this your boy Yeroc and checking in again. You know what I'm saying? Welcome back to the Determining Our Destiny show. I'd like to welcome in my co-host, Brother Flat. Brother Flat, you there?
Yes, sir. Power to the people. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm good, brother. How about yourself?
Yeah, ready for this discussion, man.
Yeah. You know, before we really get into it, the show on separation versus integration today, but a couple articles crossed my attention this week, you know what I'm saying, and one of them, both of them based out of Texas, you know what I'm saying, and one of them, the article is about the Board of Education in Texas changing the name of slaves to unpaid interns. And I have a couple quotes from the article where it states that the Texas Board of Education has revised its curriculum, and now students will be taught that slaves were not kidnapped and exploited against their will, but were actually unpaid interns. Another quote, by working outside picking cotton, they gained valuable career experience and were provided with ample networking opportunities. Another quote, either the founding fathers were divinely inspired statesmen or they endorsed slavery, and that's a pretty glaring contradiction. So obviously slavery didn't exist, said Texas board member Charlie Shuster. Another quote, sure, these plantation interns had it harder than today's modern college students. They didn't have coffee breaks. They couldn't goof around on Facebook. And though they were beaten to an inch of death, they made lifelong connections and built strong resumes in the process, not to mention the acclaimed music they was encouraged to write. Wow. That's just one article there, man. It's just ridiculous, the type of racism just all through that. You know what I'm saying? You got something to say with that?
Yes, I also want to say that although this only was passed in Texas, here's a quote for you. Decisions that are made in Texas have a ripple effect across the country, says Philip Van Fossen, head of the Department of Curriculum and Instruction and a professor of social studies education at Purdue University.
Well, I just want to say that just for us to allow them to pass those little changes is ridiculous, because we had scholars out there like Dr. Ben, like Dr. Clark, that fought these school boards, that went in there in these meetings and made them start African study courses. And for us to sit back and allow them to change the curriculum to we're unpaid interns, that's just ridiculous. And that's laziness on our part. and flat out racism on theirs.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And also some more notable changes that occurred with this new passing is the slave trade will be renamed the Atlantic Triangular Trade. American imperialism changed to expansionism, and all references to capitalism have been replaced with free enterprise. My man, did I say more?
That's ridiculous, man. Why wouldn't they want to call themselves capitalists anymore? You know what I'm saying? Because so much bad has been associated with it. Like I read a little article about it too, when they was talking about they want to what did they say? They wanted to change the capitalism because it was associated with terms like racist, fascist pigs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
From the Black Panther Party. But let me go into this other little article I had. When this article was called "The Texas Conservatives Win Curriculum Change." You know what I'm saying? And they state, we added balance to the history, which has already been skewed to the left. Which, if history's been skewed to the left, I don't know what it need to look like on the right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They say they include a plank to ensure students learn of the resurgence of the 1980s and 90s, including the Heritage Foundation, the Moral Majority, and the National Rifle Association. Ridiculous. My question is, what were they resurging from in the 80s and 90s? Was it the Civil Rights Movement? Was it the Black Power Movement of the 60s and 70s? You know what I'm saying? What was the resurgence? You know, another quote. Dr. Melroy, a dentist that was on the panel, pushed through a change to ensure to students learn the violent philosophy of the Black Panthers and the nonviolent approach of Martin Luther King Jr. Ridiculous.
Lord help us.
Ridiculous. It makes no sense to me. And we sit here and allow these people to do this. And like you said, yeah, it's just in Texas right now, but it has a ripple effect throughout the country. You know what I'm saying? If they see they're going to get away with something here, why wouldn't they move it throughout the country?
Yeah, conservatives dominate the Texas Board of Education.
Yeah, that's right. Anywhere they control is going to be some problems. Period.
And also, something else that was also notable change was how they changed the role of Thomas Jefferson to their own personal agenda, was who argued for the separation of church and state is minimized in several places, and the standards will emphasize the degree to which the founding fathers were driven by Christian principles.
Right. And that's another thing. They wasn't Christian, first of all.
In the first place.
There's been plenty of documented evidence to back that up. And me personally, my belief on that is, even if they was Christian, this is the doctrine that they passed on. Your slave owners passed on. You know what I'm saying? So why would we accept their doctrine?
Right.
This is just my opinion. I don't understand that. I need somebody to call in one day and explain to me why you accept your enemy's doctrine. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I think we touched on that enough. Well, not enough, but we got some more things to get into.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? You can go ahead and start off with that article there you got.
Well, well, like we said, the topic right now is going to be between integration and separation. So we kind of just want to give you the start and the pickup from that. So here we go from here. After the abolition of slavery in the United States, 3 constitutional amendments were passed to grant newly freed African Americans legal status. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 14th provided citizenship, and the 15th guaranteed the right to vote. In spite of these amendments and civil rights acts to enforce these amendments, between 1873 and 1883, the Supreme Court handed down a series of decisions that virtually nullified the work of Congress during the Reconstruction. Regarded by many as the second-class citizens, blacks were separated from whites by law and by private action in transportation, public accommodations, recreational facilities, prisons, armed forces, and schools in both northern and southern states.
Deep. So you mean to tell me that we was already separate here at one time?
Already.
You know. And while we was already separate, we had black business. We had black churches.
Correct.
You know. We had black unity. Because if we wasn't unified at that time, we wouldn't have survived. You know, a lot of families during them early days survived off sharecropping, which means, you know, one family might grow this tomato, another family might grow cabbage, you know, and the families just trade off, you know. And just imagine where we would be today if we still had those farms.
Right.
But instead, we chose to fight for civil rights, you know. And what are your civil rights? Your civil rights is your right to sit in the same restaurant with some white man. Your right to go to the same school as some white man.
To use the same terms.
Exactly.
And I feel like this is why I'm completely against, I really was completely against integration. I feel like in America, that was one of our biggest downfalls was integration. That's when we stopped investing in our own black businesses. That's when we stopped supporting each other as black families. But back then, black families were strong because we needed to be strong. So after slavery, because you know at one point during slavery, a lot of families were separated. But now we're speaking on the more recent times of segregation. And what Martin Luther King said in himself in his own quote in one of his last speeches, he said, "I felt like I walked my people into a burning church," because he realized at the end of the road that this is not going to lead nowhere.
Right. And I think he felt that way because even after they passed all those civil rights laws, as Malcolm X said in one of his speeches, like they passed the desegregation of the schools in like 1954 or 1955. Malcolm X does a speech, and he says it's been 9 years since you passed that law, and the schools are still separated and segregated. So we can wait on the white man to act right, or we can do it ourselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I understand that a lot of people feel like if we do something ourselves, the only way we can do it is through an armed struggle. And I would hope that's not the case, but the history and the evidence of the white man's reaction to black people doing for themselves is the destruction of the black people.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so hey, you got to be ready. You got to be able to protect your economy the same way the white man does.
Yep, and as they doing it well, and see that's another thing that is very important, and we should have kept on in our own schools, because in schools nowadays we're not teaching our history, which is the most important, our history. If we would have kept it in our schools and would start forming our own nation on our own land, that we'd have taught our history. For example, is that we need to teach in our schools how to farm, how to grow. We're not talking about breeding pit bulls. We're talking about breeding chickens, how to breed cows, how to breed pigs, so then you don't have to depend on the white man grocery stores. Instead, that you're making your own grocery store.
Right, like the brother from The Wire did. He recently opened up a grocery store. Ted the Bump from The Wire. He opened up a little healthy grocery store for the people. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, we have a caller here. Let me let this caller in. Brother Oace, are you there?
What's going on, brothers? How y'all doing? Peace.
How you doing, brother? Thanks for the call.
See, yeah, I'm going to listen in for a while, man. I just got off work to see what y'all was talking about, man.
Man, we going in on separation versus integration.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You got what's your thoughts on separation versus integration, brother?
Oh, I believe it destroyed us. The empowered
integration
us. It did.
Okay.
And hopefully
let's talk about that. How did it destroy us?
Well, I think that if you look at it closely, I think a good example is what they doing in Wake County. If y'all been keeping up with that, with Wake County School Board, and what they're doing is you have to be what they're assigning. If you whatever area you live in, like you live in an urban area, you used to have a choice of what school you could go to, but now they're assigning the kids the school in their area where they live. So the parents now are basically bound to going to the schools that in their area. But before they were choosing the schools that they thought that were better, or I would say that they thought was superior to their own schools, closer to their own neighborhoods. And I've seen something about that. And I believe when I read that article, they were saying some very arrogant things in that one too. Right? They said something about, well, if the schools are worse off like that, then some mess like this. But even then, I feel like that's good. Let us go to school in our own communities, but just let our communities run the school. Right. Let our communities determine what the kids need to learn, what's important for our kids to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you to tell me what my kid needs to know? We didn't live the same life. That's right. That's
you know
right.
What I'm saying?
Definitely agree with that.
Now, let's talk about some of the benefits of separation to us as a people. You know what I'm saying? Anybody got something to say on that before I go?
I mean, first of all, it have us not to rely on other people for our future. Once again, depend on other people for our future, we are bound to fail. We're going to fail. And there's no high percentage of a success rate while relying on another race holding our future in their hands. They're just going to crumble us. And so right now, for us as a people, as a society, is to prepare our children for the future. And we already know if our children's not being taught their history, and the reason why people keep on asking, so why is history so important? History is important so that we can at least show what we were, where we came from, our forefathers, not George Washington forefathers, our sincere forefathers, the previous dynasties, all the outstanding things that we have done, the science, mathematics. And here's another reason why it's important that we know their history. We have enough rappers, people. We have enough athletes. You know what we don't have enough of? Engineers, scientists, doctors, teachers, leaders. This is what we don't have enough of, and I can't stress that enough. We don't need all this stuff that is being pushed on the radio, that's being pushed on the TV, is deteriorating our mind. It's not advancing our mind. We're not learning nothing. We're not progressing. And this is why our children think we're ugly. This is why the darker your skin color, they think they're not beautiful, because in the magazines they're being pushed that they're not. Because why? We're in a white dominant country. You see what I'm saying?
The reason you know it's that way is because back in the 60s and 70s, when the Black Power movement was going around, or the Civil Rights movement, as they'll call it today, was going on, there's been plenty of people that's documented the fact that we called ourselves ugly because we was black and things like that, and how they overcame it just for us to fall back down the same trap. And that's why I say from the early article, when they talk about the resurgence of the 80s and 90s, they're talking about them taking back control of our minds. Right. That's my feeling of it. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a time when we wasn't saying black. We said black is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Black is lovely. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
I'm proud. Exactly. But see, now, look at it now as far as looking at it from the aspect of we have a deep embedded self-hatred with us, man. And I think that that self-hatred that we have, it manifests itself in so many ways, like how Flat was saying. And then when you have us to think about history and what's done. We're so wrapped up in the self-hatred thing. We hate ourselves so much. We don't even want to know. We don't even want to know. It's not even significant to us to even try to explore, different things that happen in our history that affect us even today. You know what I'm saying? So I feel as though integration kind of put us, it made us embrace the myth of inferiority. It made us embrace it, and it made us look at it in the sense of, okay, we built up these schools, now we can go to Yale and okay, we just gonna leave what we built and we're gonna go over there. You know what I'm saying?
That shows self-hatred right there. What we built's not good enough. We want to go to your school. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the fact that what you built wasn't good enough. It's the fact that they started on 400 years of slavery and the money that they generated from that. We started from nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We started from the bottom. Now we here. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to realize these things, man. And it's time to step up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people still trying to live that little party life. You know what I'm saying? But it's time to step up, man. We grown. Goddamn, ain't nobody fighting for us no more. Ain't no Jesse Jackson won't never fight for you, but it's no more him like that. You know what I'm saying? It's our turn to step up and take that lead.
And we have to break this mental war that's going on within ourselves, kind of what Oace was just saying. We're confused. We're lost people. And we're one of the most separated people, if you notice that. Against our own people, we hate each other. There's always jealousy. There's always envy. You notice that mostly every black organization used our own people to break down that organization. If it was threatening families, if it was using money, it's just that we have to, as a people, together, because it's not going to happen no other way. This is why I say put religion to a side. This is why I say put politics to a side and put skin color first, not gang color. Don't die for a red flag. Don't die for a blue flag. If you're going to die for anything, die for the color of your skin. You know what I mean? Because right now, nobody's going to care for our children like we're going to have to care for our children. They don't care for their future. They don't at all. Even with the day after pill, this is why we have to be in control of our communities. Because right now, they are on every corner. Liquor stores is on every corner. These little pawn shops on every corner. So these things is not helping our communities, not at all. No, that's depopulating us.
But then at the same time, though, Flat, do y'all feel as though if we was to go around like Garvey or go around like Malcolm and the Panthers, go around and propagate segregation or propagate self-empowerment, that we would begin to get, antics throwing us like reverse racism, like, oh, they're a bunch of racists because they want to empower their own people and they want to build their own businesses. And
I already get that.
They're going to attack us in every form of way they can possibly can. They're going to call us terrorists. They're going to call it reverse racism. They're going to call it anything. Like I said, before they allow a black messiah to raise our people from out the depths, they will create a black messiah, quote-unquote Obama. And so they control the leader of our people, then they control all of our people. And this is why we can't let them create our leaders or put people in power that speaks for us when they don't speak for all of us.
That's right. That's right. And I think Obama really, they try to use him to try to alleviate the fact that white supremacy still exists and is in full force right now. Just because we have a black president, people, please don't get it misconstrued. You know what I'm saying? Like, they look at it, and it's funny. It's funny how Obama can disagree with something and all our people are behind him, and then as soon as he agrees with it, everybody else agrees with it. Like, look at the gay marriage.
Right.
All of a sudden he wasn't with it. Then when he's with it, oh, yeah, I'm with it because Obama's with it, so I'm going to follow after him. You know, and I feel as though, man, you know, America's not built on racism anymore because we have a black president. But what about the community? That's just dealing with the beast. Like, just because we have a black president don't mean our community. So it don't mean that we're not in a state of mental slavery. It doesn't mean that we still don't need to, you know, broaden our horizons on many different things. Economics, business, self-empowerment, all these things still exist. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And one thing I do want to say real quick, that Obama, that a lot of people say, you know, and I just don't want to be swept under the rug. Obama is a mixed president. I'd rather for them to say he's the first mixed president before he's the first black president. He's not fully black, ladies and gentlemen. I really want to stress that note.
Right. And I want to say that, you know, Obama ain't nothing but a black face in a white place doing work for the white race. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is.
Hey, that's...
Hey, but hold on. Let me say this flat. We can't discredit him on his nationality because, you know, whenever the dominant gene is there, you are of that nationality. So I'm not gonna discredit him on that.
I'm gonna say we can't claim people when we want to claim them, and then not claim them when we
want.
You know,
right? Exactly. You know, yeah, because he definitely is. He definitely is an original man.
But yeah, I want to say this at the same time. Exactly what Corey just said. It just said why can't you say he's still a white president then? It don't matter. Like, even though we know anytime black mix with any other race, that baby pigment of his skin is going to come out a dark color, and this is why white people fear at them breeding with any other race, because the baby is going to come up of color. Only thing I'm saying is the black president, and first of all, the first black president was John Hanson in the Article of Confederation. We can't sit here and honor certain leaders and certain people in the past when we don't learn about people like Marcus Garvey or other great leaders in the past in our books. I don't want us to ever idolize Obama as anything. He should be not idolized, oh, he's a black man because he had black genes in that skin. That man is mixed. A lot of mixed people. But the downfall to black people in our race because of being mixed.
Right, but let me jump on there with this note, because it's been through my study and then in the culture and the history and stuff that we as Africans believe that you are what your mama is. And Barack Obama's mama is a white woman. So, hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I probably would have to disagree with that, because I feel as though anytime, I mean, we can't, like you said, we can't allow him to jump on this side and claim him on this side and then claim, you know what I'm saying? If the dominant gene is present running through your veins, that's what your nationality is. Period. It don't matter. We can't discredit the brother. And historically, from a historical aspect, it is good for us. You know what I'm saying? It's good for us from a historical aspect. But us brothers knowing and being in depth and knowledge that we have, we know what's really up. But from a historical standpoint, we can say our kids, we can say, look at Obama, you know, as an exemplar of a man. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause it without knowing, you know, just looking and just from a historical standpoint, it is good. We can't discredit him on that. But once you get deeper into the lessons and deep into the agenda, of course, we know it's no good.
Exactly, and this is why I would never mark any good on it, because I know the agenda behind it. You're not going to create a leader for us. He is a created leader, which could be another topic and agenda, which would be a great show, because like I said, a healthy
I was thinking, while we're sitting here talking about it, I'm thinking that sounds like a good show for next week.
A healthy debate is better than no debate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we got about a minute left, so you go ahead and say your closing remarks. That's what you're first.
Who we going with first?
You can go ahead and go.
Oh, I'm going to just say study Malcolm Garvey Huey, man. That's the, I mean.
Exactly.
That's the key right there.
And for you, Flat?
I just want to say, pick up a book that's other than the Bible.
Hey, that's a killer statement right there, man. They ain't ready.
Yo,
They ain't ready for that. Yeah, man. I just want to thank everybody that listen. You can always go back on YouTube, listen to the older shows. The show is called Determining Our Destiny. I'm Brother Yeroc. Thank you, Brother Oace, for calling. And I'm
always, man.
Back
I love y'all,
brother,
brothers. Peace, man.
Love you too, brother.
All right, brother.
Peace.
All right, man. We'll catch y'all next week.